Welcome back everyone to our Blender modeling course of the Audi RS6. We got some additional work to continue doing. Now the car is looking pretty good. What do we have remained in? Our windows, the lights, front headlights, and the brake lights. We also have our door handles, which needs designing. So we can continue with the door handles and then the windows, of course. In our previous lessons, we actually simplified the rims, which was a very good call. We also have the ground, we also have the underneath of the car to design, but that's fairly simplistic. Now let's think of our door handle, which won't be easy if I'm being completely honest. As you can see, we can use a knife tool and essentially follow the patterns. We can essentially use the knife tool and follow the patterns that are already set for us. Follow the blueprint that is already set for us. And thankfully this knife tool can work quite well to our advantage. Now something like this doesn't always work, but it's always worth trying nonetheless. It's interesting that the subdivision modifier creates a bit of a problem for us. So now even deleting these edges, well, dissolving the edges, subdivision modifier still leaves a bit of a problem. Deleting this face, the subdivision modifier, it still leaves some problem. We can extrude, but you can clearly see right there, these vertices, they want to connect. And to be honest, I was open to avoid this. I was open to avoid adding vertices, but as soon as we do that, it helps to fix the problem. So we can add additional vertices around here just to sharpen everything up. We can also add additional vertices down here also. We can also add additional loop cuts down here. Remember, these vertices can be critical also to keep it simplistic, but I don't want it slowing down my viewport too much. Thankfully, because we have a strong foundation of our model, everything looks good. I can turn down the render viewport because we don't want it to slow down too much, but if it starts slowing down too much, then that's perhaps a sign that we sometimes have too much vertices. So we also want to keep that in mind. If it starts to slow down, if it's not slowing down, then, but I'm going to join these loop cuts, these vertices, as this will help our model as long as, there we go, we can start seeing the imperfections. You can see them now. It's not easy to see those dents, but they're barely visible. But nonetheless, they're there. And it's very difficult to fix these, primarily because we've added perhaps too many loop cuts. Just as an experiment, even if you added more loop cuts, I doubt that would fix the problem, unless you use shrink wrap. Now, I'm not a fan of shrink wrap. I don't like using shrink wrap at all. I prefer to keep things simple. So that's why I tend to undo some of these loop cuts. This one I might keep and just connect that one right there. So that's not too bad. You see, if they're not too close together, it doesn't look too bad at all. If we have any other additional concerns, we can probably do something like this. But honestly, I don't think that makes a huge amount of difference. Well, actually, I can't see the dent. Let's see how that looks. Honestly, that's tricky. It's almost impossible to notice. That's almost impossible to notice, but nevertheless, it's there. It's ironic, by putting a loop cut in this area, it actually doesn't look too bad. But if that becomes an issue, then we can always get rid of that loop cut. But I'm looking for the imperfections, and surprisingly, I can't find it. How strange. This area, honestly, can remember designing this area. That was quite something. We'll just leave that as it is. But nevertheless, you have somewhat of a door handle. You can then insert this area and connect quite a few of these vertices. Actually, that's not done properly. I meant to fill this face and then insert and then connect. Now that's looking a whole lot cleaner, that's for sure. I don't want to put any more vertices up there, honestly. That's That's a bad idea. Even though these things need to be connected to something. Perhaps we can just use the knife tool. Perhaps we can just use the knife tool in this area and see how that looks. Well, to be honest, not too bad actually. This should be a little bit further out. These should also be a little bit further out, including these ones, and we'll save. How interesting. So it's basically the same on the other side. That's a look at the door handle right there. To be honest, inside it's a little bit, it's a little bit indented. I won't lie. Like these vertices, even these ones, feels like they're a little bit sunken in. And these, we'll get rid of those for now. I wonder if we ought to do the same around this area. And then add a couple of loop cuts around these areas, perhaps. Now that's looking a lot better actually. Probably add another one right there and another one right there. And with these ones, we can carry those in. This vertex, just carry this one up just a little bit and probably carry it back. Same thing with this one right there. Also carry that one back. Same thing with this one there. Carry this one back. And if we want to sharpen up inside, we can either level up, well, no point leveling up the viewport, but we can add some additional loop cuts around these areas, especially if we wanted to sharpen up the outside. You can see just how much better level 3 rendering looks upon this thing. But one thing I would do is I would basically bezel. I'd bezel this area if I wanted to. Virtually the same thing. Virtually. The only part that's left remaining is to basically connect these areas. But of course that's not absolutely necessary. This time it's the same thing. We're using a plane. We're going to rotate the plane, tab in, and scale it down. We're going to rotate this plane a little bit like that. Probably need to rotate it a bit more. Scale it down a little bit more. Probably need to scale it down a bit more as well. Now the blueprint is terrible, but what I can use is just one singular plane for this face. That's it. And then extrude another plane for this face and extrude another one for that face. It's a crazy idea, but honestly it might work. Kind of like this. Just extrude them to the full width and then take a look at this from above. So if I extrude a plane like that, this one shouldn't be too close. Might need to add our loop cuts around here. And let's see if I can carry those a little bit closer. Kind of like that. And these ones, by the looks of it, should be tilted up just a little bit. Kind of like that. And I do believe extrude again. But you can see it's circular. That's the thing about this, is that it is not flat. So it's circular, kind of like that. Carry those out a little bit more. Carry this one out a little bit more. It's circular, kind of like that. And you can pay attention to those faces. See how flat this one is, how curved this one is. But notice how close these one are together. And then it absolutely, it sort of mirrors in. So it's almost as if there's additional vertices right around here, and they kind of go in like that. Almost like that. Almost. And the thing about it is that these feel like these are actually closer together. Kind of like this. And again, tilted upwards. Now this is the back of the handle. The front of the angle is very, very narrow. It's at a very different angle. So if this is the rear, it sticks out a little bit, kind of like that. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. And this area actually comes in a little bit more. this area a little bit, this area a little bit out like that. Carry this one down. You can see right there, this one, the entire thing, just shrink it just a little bit. Probably need to rotate it eventually on the x-axis, but not quite yet. Just need to get that top part right. It's like an hexagon right there, all the way around. It's like an hexagon. That's interesting. So this part is taken in like that. Same thing with this part, it's taken in like that. And this area is probably a little bit closer. This part's taken in like that. This area a little bit closer. How interesting. And this area comes out a bit more. Let's save this. As it's going well, I don't want to mess this up. So like I said, it's an hexagon, so this area needs to also be a little bit adjusted. So does this area. These are all gracefully adjusted. And eventually it's rotated kind of like that. Now underneath, I'm guessing it's probably a little bit similar, but well, actually it's quite flat underneath. So the most important part is this area. Pay attention to how wide it is, to how narrow it is, and how wide it becomes. So pay attention to these areas. Just how wide these areas are, and then how narrow it actually becomes. Carry these ones down just a little bit, and eventually we'll add loop cuts around these areas to sharpen it up, even though we already trying to do that. Ambitious, I can't help it, to be honest. And I wonder just how these parts are shaped. Okay, very, very straight, very, very angular. It follows the grooves. Same thing, this is a bit more boxy, this is a bit more angular, like a racing car. So, viewing this from the side, we know this part needs to be very, very angular. And this part is a bit more boxy. But I wonder if we need to also flatten this. Do we need to flatten this also? And flatten this one also? Flatten that one. Interesting. Select them all and rotate. Kind of like that. Now this is carried in quite closer. Like this. I've already just rotated a little bit, which is good. Just carry it down a bit more. That's good. Carry it in a bit more. And rotate it a bit more like that. But I don't want that side to be completely flat. To be honest, it's more along this side can be a little bit more flat than anything else. But this area, it's very much angular. So at this point, we can simply just continue to adjust until everything is right. I wonder if we need to add another loop cut around this area to sharpen that out. Don't think it's absolutely necessary because we have this vertex. With these vertices, we should be carrying this inwards. And save. That's a little bit too far inwards. These are also a little bit too far inwards. Just rotate them kind of like this. And we'll continue to adjust all of these pieces. Even these pieces will be rotated. That's looking good. Simple door handles, but we got to make sure that it's right. We'll adjust this as well. And then I believe at this point we can probably extrude these faces inwards. Kind of like that. The only difference is these ones, they shouldn't be too obvious. Then we can fill. You can see some of that is just too obvious. We can carry this back just a little bit. Similar thing with these ones. We can carry these, whoops. We can carry these back just a little bit. And then we can perhaps insert either that or we can connect these. We can continue to connect these ones. Probably need to add additional vertices around here and connect these ones also. And we must shade smooth this. Let's make sure we save that. Sharpen up this angle. Sharpen up that angle as well. Probably need to. So these angles are quite sharp. Carry these ones down just a little bit. We can also add a loop cut just around this area also. Add another vertice to that area also, just to close it out. And then, thankfully, we have a guide to help us to connect this slot so that this area makes a lot more sense. And this area can be brought back just a little bit, not too much. Carry this one up and carry this one up also. Clearly, these ones need to be brought down quite a bit. Carry these one around. This group right here, carry this around also. And carry it out just a small amount. Yep, can probably get rid of that vertex right there. It was a bit of a waste of time. And carry this one up. This group clearly needs to be brought that way. And these ones need to be brought. And that's looking pretty damn good for our door handle. And it's a similar thing on the other side. So on this side, we know we need vertices around this area. So we use our loop cut. We'll use our knife tool once again to get the job done. We use a knife tool to get this one done actually. There we go. We'll get rid of that vertice for a moment. We're going to need this one right here. Let's get rid of that one. And may want to join these, may want to merge at last. Add a couple of loop cuts to the top around there and we can join these. Perhaps then with these faces we can get rid of that. Dissolve this edge. Well, that might not actually go so well. We're going to join these two. Let's join those ones. Let's actually join this one as well. And then we can dissolve vertice. Now it's one face. Does it reflect the pattern? It almost does, but not entirely. So let's delete face. We may need another loop cut around this area. May have to join those two. May have to dissolve those edges. Well, that might actually be trickier than we think. Well, unless we do it one by one. Let's add these vertices again. See how this works. And join those. Doesn't work entirely well. Let's also join these ones. It's looking a little bit better. Not entirely. Let's also join those ones. Ah, looks like there's a hidden face around there or something. These vertices might have... Ah, these things have faces of their own. No idea why. That is beyond confusing. But sadly, that's how Blender is sometimes. Now that that's finally extruded, perhaps we can readjust this a little bit more to add some level of refinement. Then perhaps we can join these. Let's add another one there. Add another one there. No idea if this is going to work. Perhaps it won't, because I don't want that many. I don't want the crease to be that I don't want the crease to be that obvious. Honestly, there shouldn't even be a crease there at all. So that's where our job gets a little bit difficult, because there's not supposed to be a crease. What if I just put this one right there, close as possible, and join these two, just to keep it cohesive. Try to keep it reasonable, I'd say. And then we can extrude this and fill face and join. Same thing again, we can join those and join these ones. Join this also. And then join this one unusually. But if it works, I won't complain. It's starting to look like Mickey Mouse. And then with this area, honestly, I'm going to want to bezel this area. We don't want it looking too sharp, but what's going on there? Something's going on there that I don't quite like. Let's see. Perhaps we need to join those. That could get touch and go. Because there you have the crease. The very crease I'm trying to avoid, actually. Honestly, let's try again. Let's try to bezel this area. I have a feeling we might need a vertex right there. Well, loop cut, I'd say. I have a feeling we might also need one right there. And we might need to expand that also. Then we might have to scale this down. So check the other side. Okay, not bad. Let's add a mirror modifier. And let's use our cube. Let's see how that looks. Not too bad at all, but could do with some improvement just around here. We're going to reposition this. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. Not perfect, but we're going to get everything, duplicate it, and carry it towards the rear. P to separate. And let's select it, tab in, move this up. You can see just how much sharper that one is, but got to be careful not to add too much vertice because it could ruin our design. Don't get me wrong, it's not like we can't readjust it. We can always readjust it, even like that. We can also add vertices around this area. To simplify this, we can join this. We can also join that area. Now if we add those extra loop cuts at the top, we have to make sure one rule. It doesn't leave it looking like there's actually loop cuts there. If that happens, then that's not a good thing. Honestly, these vertices feels like it changes the entire nature of my design. Unless of course I added loop cuts around this area and then added another loop cut right there. And then join those and dissolve these edges. But now it looks worse. Honestly, it needs something to connect to. So this is one of those parts that won't always go to plan. However, I wonder if we can join these. Nope, still doesn't look good. Still doesn't look good. Dissolve that area. That is the one part that doesn't look correct. Now that's like a topology problem that we can probably find a solution for at a later time. But for now, one thing we do want to finish up is the rest of our design. Never realized that I actually left this just completely on its own. We might have to just dissolve this area and literally with these loop cuts we might have to just fill. These areas will also fill, those areas will also fill. And these areas will simply just add some vertices and reconnect those vertices. Then we can fill face. And so on and so on. We're going to press F to fill these ones. We're going to fill these ones also. We're also going to fill these ones. And it continues from there. There we go. Nice ones, nice ones. So something like that. And then we can join these ones. Join these ones also. Probably join these ones too. Let's make sure we save our file. Then we get to rotate this, carry it forward and carry it up, and scale this a little bit. Now it comes time for readjustments. And also we will connect these ones right there. That is the one problem that we do have, is this area. Now we can fix that at a later time, as I said previously. For now, let's just make sure that we readjust these vertices. First thing I'll do is I'll carry these ones down, carry these ones up. Just readjust these ones until it looks right. And clearly, this needs to be brought in. and rotate a little bit like that. Carry them in once again, rotate a bit like that. Now these ones, we'll also readjust these just to make sure we can get them right. Continue to readjust these ones until we can get them right. Carry these one out, dissolve edge, and carry these one out. I'm losing battery rather quickly on my device, so I want to finish this up ideally before I lose battery. But nevertheless, that's looking pretty good. We're just going to readjust this a little bit. Just going to carry these one out. Going to carry these ones down. Going to also carry these ones down. So that's looking pretty good. Make sure you save that. And we got to end this video really quick because battery is starting to take a toll. We can dissolve that entire edge. Clean it up a little bit. Like I said, there's this one thing we need to clean up towards the end in another episode, but this is looking good so far. There's some additional details that we'll work on in this course, such as this area, just a fin at the open inlet. Fully carbon fiber, we just want to work on that part. Fairly simple stuff. And that's easy enough to do because we can just duplicate this, P to separate, select the new object, and let's delete these vertices. Let's also delete that vertice. Most of these vertices we will dissolve, and the remaining vertices we will extrude this forward. We'll select this group of vertices, carry it forward just a small amount. We'll select all of this and extrude it in that direction. With this group, we need to carry this down just a little bit, not too much at all. We'll add a loop cut around this area. We'll add another loop cut right there. And that's pretty much our fin. Nothing too complicated. However, I think it needs to be brought back just a small amount, not too much at all. Parts like this need to be brought inwards. Parts like this can be brought outwards, perhaps a little bit more. This group right here will carry this one inwards as well. Can probably carry it up a little bit more, carry it inwards. That's a little bit better. Now for our front windscreen. There's the windscreen and then there's the pillar. So we're going to duplicate this group. P to separate. Actually, before we do that, let's make sure we capture that one as well. Duplicate, P to separate. That's better. And let's merge these. That's better. Then we can extrude. And extrude it that way. Carry it forward just a small amount. Just like that. And fill these group of faces. And carry this one around. That's a little bit better. Let's merge these vertices also, and with this group we can then extrude this one down. That's better. We'll also extrude this one down. With this group we'll extrude this one also. With this group we'll also extrude this one also. But with this one we need to carry it down. That's better. We'll also extrude this one forward and carry this one down. With this group, we'll also carry this one down. And with this one, we'll carry this one down a little bit more. That's perfect. Then we can think about face fill. Perfect. Same thing with this one right here. Face fill. And let's get a vertice for that area. Well, a loop cut. And another loop cut around that area. Let's see how that one looks. It looks pretty damn good, to be honest. Except this loop can be carried down a little bit more. Add another vertex right there. Loop cut, I should say. Raise it up a little bit. Add another loop cut right there. Raise it up a little bit. And another loop cut right there and raise it up. That's pretty good. Then we can think about duplicating. Duplicating this group of vertices, P to separate, and we'll select the new lines and we'll join those. These two we want to merge, and these remaining ones we want to dissolve. We'll also borrow a group of these vertices and separate. But this one is quite lowered down, quite a bit. And we'll carry this one down. Merge these two, carry that one there, and then we're going to join these. Control J. Let's make sure our screencast keys are turned on. I do apologize, I only just noticed. So with these two, we can then merge. With this one, we're going to carry it across just a little bit. And with this one, we'll press double G, carry it across a little bit more also. We may in fact need to raise this one also. We'll select everything, and then we will duplicate. P to separate, and then we will scale this one down. Scale it within, scale it up a little bit. We want to reposition it a little bit. Let's move it up a little bit and move it back. And with these ones, naturally, we'll move this way. Probably merge these two also. I have a feeling with these ones, this needs to be moved up a little bit like that. Move this one down a little bit, move this one down a little bit. It's slightly edged out. It's always good to reflect on the real thing. Realize that the actual glass is a full sheet of glass. You see, this is simply the underlay. But all of this, that's a full sheet of glass. So this actually needs to be duplicated again, and P to separate. We need two of those. And this one will need some much needed adjusting. Some much needed adjusting. There we go. We'll carry this one down. That's looking a little bit better. Now eventually we're going to merge these two because they're basically the underline of our screen. So we're going to merge these two, well, join I should say. We'll fill this, we'll fill that too, we'll fill these areas, we'll fill these areas also, we'll also fill these areas, we'll merge these vertices, and we'll fill this area also. Carry this one forward just a little bit. I can see a little slit right there that I don't quite like, and I think it's because there are faces. And I think it's because there are faces in this area that we just need to dissolve, including, so that's looking a little bit better. And as for this one, we'll dissolve that one also. Now, because this is actually the underline, we need to actually lower this area. Add another vertex right there. We'll add one right there. And with everything, we will just lower it slightly. And then with the actual screen, we can simply just fill. I'm going to connect these vertices vertically, of course. We'll readjust some of these vertices, and we will fill. We'll also fill this area, add another loop cut around this area, and join. And with these areas, we can simply just lower this, lower the entire thing actually, quite a bit more. And clearly, these areas also need to be lowered. Basically, you got to lower them until you cannot see them. So that's looking a little bit better. I think this group right here needs to, the normals. I think, there we go. I think it's fixed. Let's make sure the normals are correct on this one as well. Turns out they were correct. And I wonder if we have too many vertices along this area. We might, and if we do, we simply just need to dissolve and add another vertex right there. Move this one closer. This one also will move closer. That's pretty good. Clearly this one needs to be moved up just a little bit. And clearly we need to add another one around this area. This entire group needs to be moved up somewhat, including this one. Or shall we just dissolve it and carry on something new? Sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to just dissolve the older ones and carry something new, unless the other one looks better. And in this case, kind of does. It works. Now with these vertices, we can then extrude, but extrude downwards. Extrude again and move it back just a little bit. We'll also add a loop cut around this area. We will then save this increment. We need to set this normal. Perfect. We also need to set this normal. Set this one as well. Set that one as well. This one too. And there we go. This one also needs to be set. We can delete the old door handle. Those were prototype of sorts, I guess you can say. And now we can work on the rear window, or perhaps the side windows, but I would say the rear. Let's go back into studio view. Let's turn off our face orientation. We want to view the rear from this perspective. Very similar stuff to what we did earlier on. So this entire loop we will duplicate. P to separate. That is 3 separate pieces we have to now join. We will also join this piece. Wonderful. Got that piece right there. We're going to dissolve those vertices. We're going to carry this back just a little bit. And we will join these areas. Control J and join. Perfect. Then we can merge these areas. Merge that one as well. These vertices we will also merge. Good. With all of this, we're going to duplicate. Scale this down. Move it within a little bit. View this from the top. And with all of this side, I'm going to carry this one forward. We're going to carry it down. We're going to carry this one towards the rear just a little bit. Let's merge these vertices. With this group, we can carry that up. Dissolve that vertice. And let's move this across. We've got to make sure that these are on line. That part is crucial. We're going to separate this area for now. And we know we've got a pillar right there, I believe, to design. Yep, quite a small little pillar right there to design. Let's get that one done. I'm going to duplicate these areas. P to separate. And we're going to join. We're going to merge these one. Carry that one this way. Carry that one that way. We're going to delete the unnecessary ones we don't need. That's good. We're also going to delete this vertice. And we will carry this up a little bit more. Then we can extrude these ones. Can probably extrude the entire thing and carry it across. We may have to merge all of this, and then we're going to extrude this down kind of like that. And let's scale this on active element, scale it forward somewhat. Then with these we can simply fill. Then with these we can simply just fill all of those. With this entire group we're going to carry this down, and then we're going to help ourselves out with a vertex right there. A loop cut, I should say. With this entire group we should really fill. See how that looks from there. It is quite sharp. Let's carry this back. Carry this down. With these vertices we're just going to carry those down. Probably carry this one down also. And perhaps we need another one around here. And carry this up. With all of this we can carry it towards the left just a little bit. And with this loop we can also carry this towards the left just a little bit. Same thing with this group. We can carry this down. Carry it forward. Same thing with most of these. Gonna carry those down. And shade smooth, of course. Let's separate these areas somewhat slightly. And let's straighten out that area. And carry this one up slightly. Let's straighten out this one. This entire edge, I want it to be flat. And then rotate it. Carry this towards the rear. And carry this towards the front. It's not too bad. And we're going to fill this one and add a loop cut around this area. I'm going to carry this one forward and carry it up slightly. I'm going to need to duplicate this edge once more. So we duplicate those, P to separate. And with this group, we're going to carry this one forward. Probably need to delete this actually. Let's go with one of these groups. And we'll duplicate this one, P to separate. Add a vertex right there, and merge these and delete those. Actually, we need to join them first. Only then can we merge. Honestly, I think this area might need to be extended a bit more. Like genuinely, these vertices might need to be extended like that. So that's literally how it looks on the actual imaging. That's also it looks on the blueprint, to be honest. And then these vertices connect to it. Okay, that's making more sense. Kind of like one of those loops. P to separate. We'll merge these and we'll merge those. This area needs to be risen. Only just noticing this now. Needs to be raised. And raise quite a bit. Now that does look a lot better. Only then can we duplicate one of these and separate and delete those and move this one down. We'll also join these two. Control J, and we will press F to fill. Might add another vertex right there. And in fact, this area right here, we're going to merge these, well, join I should say. These vertices that we've selected, we're going to move these across kind of like that. And then we can add another loop cut around that area. I think we might have to move this area down a little bit, not too much. That's good. Carry this one back just a little bit. I think we might have to carry this one forwards and carry it down. And then we're going to duplicate an additional one of those because we know we're going to need that. Let's merge those at last. And we can start filling this area. Fill that area also. And fill this area. I'm going to join that. I'm going to join those. We're going to join that. And we're going to dissolve this vertex. Going to move this across just a little bit. Going to add another loop cut right there. We're going to join these as well. Probably add another loop cut around this area. Join that. Dissolve vertex. Well, turns out we might need that one. At least for now. We join that one. Add another vertex. We join this one. We move this one down. We'll also move this one down. And with these ones, we're going to move these across just a little bit. We're going to carry these one up. We're going to reposition these as well. Carry these one up and reposition that one. That's a little bit better. We're going to shade smooth. Going to move this one up and going to add another loop cut around this area and carry this one down. Can probably carry this one down also. And I wonder if we need to get rid of one of these. Carry this one back and carry this one down. And then just use that loop cut to our advantage. And these ones we will carry this one up. We'll also carry that one up as well. That's looking a lot better. Set these normals. Now as for this underneath, as you know, it's the same drill. We need to join these two. Then we can start filling. Let's merge these. Let's carry this in. Then we can carry it towards the rear a little bit. We're going to carry this one back just a little bit. I'm going to move this one up just a little bit. Some of these, like these ones, need to be moved up. I'm going to carry this one down. Carry these ones down also and set normal. That's about it, to be honest, when it comes to these ones. Although, these need to be brought down. Especially these ones. These ones need to also be brought down. Then we can extrude this down and extrude this down. Now Now, if we haven't already extruded this part, we need to do that next. First, we'll add a vertex right there. Then we'll go ahead and extrude this one down. You can see that little gap right there. Let's move this over. We'll also move this over and carry it down. That's a lot better. That is a lot better. And now we got to deal with the windows. The windows on the side, such as these areas. Let's get to work on our windows. Let's continue working on our windows, especially the window seals. So we got a fairly good idea of what we're doing here, which speaks confident. But nevertheless, one of the first things we want to do is to actually duplicate this edge. Duplicate this entire group of vertices, carry them out, because we're going to want to separate and join these. At the rear, we're going to merge at last. Perfect. With this one, might bring that one up, might bring that one out. We'll select all and carry it forwards. Then we're going to merge this group right there. I think we need a loop cut right there. Sharpen that side up. We're going to take this group of vertices. We're going to duplicate this. We're going to press P to separate. We're going to carry this one towards the rear. Carry it up a little bit. Fill. Ideally, this should not be triangular. So we're going to create another vertex and carry this one forward like that. And then we can extrude. We can extrude, we can fill, and we can carry this group towards the rear and rotate as well. Keep in mind that there are seals all along that row. May need to bring this one back just a little bit. That's looking better. Create a loop cut right there. These group of vertices, we're going to carry these one up. We're going to add a loop right there. Add another loop. And these areas, we're going to carry this one out and then scale it down a little bit. We may need another vertex right there. Or perhaps we have too many vertices for now. So we're going to get rid of some of those loop cuts. Carry these faces out and scale them down. Probably carry them out a little bit more. And add an entire loop cut around this area. Another one there. That's looking a lot better actually. And if we wanted to, we could scale this one down even more. Wonderful. Now as for this seal, we duplicate these ones. P to separate. Can probably hide that one for now. Keep in mind that this seal actually goes around the entire loop. That'd be this one right here. That one actually goes around the entire loop. Up until around the end of the door. Which is around there, I'd say. Duplicate this lot and P to separate. And hide this. So we know these two, we need to simplify that. We're going to merge those. We're also going to merge those. We're going to merge those too. Just cleaning up these vertices, which will be helpful towards us. And then with these two, we can start by extruding upwards. We really want to follow this pattern. It's extruded upwards, perhaps not too much. Then it's extruded inwards. Then it's extruded down. We're going to fill that face. This face will also fill. And this area will carry it in just a little bit and carry it down just a little bit. We'll add a loop cut. We're going to fill this area too. We're going to carry this way. And we're going to carry these ones down. Then we can add a vertex right there. And another one right there. Another vertex right there. And another vertex right there. Fill this group too. And another loop cut. Then we can look at this side by extruding, scaling in. Then we can work on this side. We're going to extrude, scale in just a little bit. Use active element. We're going to move this forward just a small amount. Then we're going to scale down. We're going to move this out, and we're going to move this in. We're going to move this one out as well, this group of vertices. Move that one out also. That's better. We'll scale this up, scale these one forward, scale the top down. However, I think this seal is a little bit smaller. Yeah, this seal is almost as short as the other ones. This is the area that's particularly exaggerated or extruded. So it's this group that needs to be brought down. Keep it around there. And we'll carry those in. We'll also carry these one in. Perfect. And then we will extrude inwards. Using these vertices, we'll also extrude inwards. We'll add a loop cut right there, and another loop cut around this area. This group of vertices, we could add a bezel, kind of like that, and we could just scale this and carry it towards the rear. Perfect. And let's shade smooth. Although this area, I don't think it should be that prominent. We'll carry it up and carry it in. We'll carry this one in. We'll carry that in also. To be honest, that top seal is quite wider than the other one, so we shouldn't be too surprised. Anyway, with this one we can fill, and we can add another loop cut. Probably need to bring this one forward actually. Group of these, carry them towards the rear just a little bit. Shade smooth, carry these one up, carry that towards the rear. We will then carry these one out just a little bit. This group, we might carry that one in. Now these vertices, this is what we need once again. Perfect. We'll duplicate this, P to separate, hide this one, and then get our new group of vertices. We can extrude this, carry it towards the rear, small amount. Naturally carry it out. Carry it out just a little bit more. Carry this one in. We're going to move this one around. This little loop cut right there. I'll actually just dissolve it for now actually. Carry this one up, carry it within. Perfect. Then we can extrude inwards. Move it inwards a little bit more and extrude inwards once again. We'll add another loop cut around this area, and we're going to press P and separate this. Perfect. Fill, add another vertex right there, fill, and add another vertex right there. Same thing with this one. I'm going to fill that area. Already have a vertex. That's well, a loop cut. That's pretty good. Fill that area also and add another loop cut. Although this one should be a little bit more like that. We're going to flatten this. We're also going to flatten this group. We're going to carry this up and carry this towards the rear. With this group right here, we're going to carry this down just a little bit. Also carry these one down, carry them forward, and just like that, we'll carry it closer together. I want to level this group out like that, and then add a vertex around there, add another one right there. A loop cut, I should say. Same thing there, another loop cut right there, another loop cut right there. Add one right there and move this out slightly. Ever so slightly. Not much at all, but just slightly. Very good. These ones, very good. Very good. We're going to add this down and move this along. We can also carry these ones down, carry these ones down also, and carry those down. This one we'll carry up. This group of vertices will carry those one up. Might need to add another group of vertices right there. We might need to separate these slightly. We're going to carry this one up just a little bit. So this is the area where it's the final parts, and it's all about just making sure that everything looks right. and it just requires small tweaks here or there just to help with how everything looks. We're going to shade smooth. We're going to carry these closer together. We're going to fill right there. I'm going to also carry this closer together. I'm going to carry this towards the rear a little bit. With these vertices, these loop cuts, I'm going to separate them a small amount just to get a smooth transition. And due to that, I might need to just raise these areas. We'll also raise this area. We're going to lower this somewhat. Going to add another loop cut right there. Going to add another vertex right there. Going to add another vertex right there. We're going to carry this across just a little bit. And from top, we need to carry this back just a little bit, kind of like that. Then we're going to create our door seals, just around there. We can duplicate this, carry this down, P to separate, select the new vertex, and extrude, and carry this one forwards, and carry it down a little bit more. I'm going to carry this one up, and carry it in, and you can see right here, got to carry this one right around there. Carry this one inwards just a little bit, perhaps not too much, but we're going to select all, duplicate, and carry it right there. We're going to carry this one up and carry it in. And this group needs to be out just a little bit more. This group probably needs to be in just a little bit. This group and this group, just carry them out just a little bit. Now with this group, we're going to duplicate this once again, carry it here, carry this one towards the rear, carry that one forwards just a little bit. Then we're going to carry this down and carry this one inward just a little bit. Carry this one in also and move this up. With everything, we're going to duplicate and carry it towards the rear once again. And carry this one up. Okay, that's pretty good. Now clearly you can see right here, we're going to need to duplicate this, P to separate, duplicate this again, merge these two, carry them forward, and we're going to fill and carry this one forwards. We're going to merge these two. We're also going to fill right there. Wonderful. Then we can basically fill these areas. We're going to fill that area also. Wonderful. So this will be our seal. We can move this inwards. That's perfect. Then we can duplicate this, and this will be basically our window. Carry this one out just slightly. So with this one, we can then fill and basically join these vertices. We're going to join those two. We're also going to join these ones. We're going to join those ones as well. We're going to join these ones also. Wonderful. And these ones, we need to carry this one up just a little bit. Same thing with this one, just carry it up just a little bit. And then we can basically extrude this inwards, kind of like that. And add a loop cut right there. And shade smooth. Perfect. With all of this, we're going to extrude this also. Extrude this inwards. Add another loop cut right there. And add a couple more loop cuts around these areas. With this entire group, we're going to carry that way. Going to carry this towards the rear just a little bit. Carry this towards the rear a little bit more. Going to add a loop right here. And we're going to join those. Going to add another vertex. Going to add another vertex around this area, another loop cut. And now let's examine how that one looks. Not bad, not bad at all. Probably need to move this up slightly. Probably need to add a loop cut right there. One of these vertices, we will basically duplicate this, carry this one forward, P to separate. That's pretty good. We've got to move this inwards, however. And then E to extrude. Move this forward, fill, and move this down. Dissolve this vertex with everything selected. We've got to move this inwards. Then we've got a fill face, and then add a group right there actually, and move this one up, and then fill from there. We're going to dissolve this group of vertices, dissolve that group also. With this group, we're going to carry this towards the rear just a little bit. Going to move this one up just a little bit. Very good. Then we can start adding our vertices, our loop cuts I should say. We're also going to add one to the center right there, so we can then edge this one out so it doesn't feel completely flat. Add another one right there and add another one right there. And we'll edge this out so it doesn't feel completely flat. We're then going to shade smooth and separate these one by one. Clearly, this group needs to be a little bit more forward. So there's that one. So there's this one also, just to close out that seal. We will then duplicate a group of those vertices, carry them out, P to separate, and we're going to join those. We're also going to merge those ones. Well, actually, we can dissolve these ones, dissolve those ones as well, and merge at last. I'm going to carry this one up, add another loop right there. Well, should say another vertice, and merge at last. Another vertice right there, and merge at last. So same thing with these groups. Now this way it is quite straightforward to just fill these ones, get those ones filled also, and then join these vertices. By selecting them all, we can then move these inwards. This one needs to be moved upwards. Don't want it to be too far inwards. Move this one forward ever so slightly. And then we're going to move this one down. And then carry this one up. That's a little bit better. So it's the same thing with this one at the front. We're basically going to duplicate a group of these vertices. Carry them out, P to separate. Control J to join, and merge at last. Same thing with these ones, add new vertices and merge at last. Now this one, officially this is where the glass starts. So we can actually delete those. Simply carry those ones forward, scale them within just a small amount. With everything, we can then carry this in. Not too much, but just a small amount. I'd say that's about it. Now with this one, you can fill the faces one by one, kind of like that. But there are other ways to do this, of course. We're going to fill those ones. We're going to fill these ones. We're going to join those vertices, and we're going to join these vertices. We will then extrude this inwards. You can actually save in increments, just in case we make any mistakes. We can always come back for our design. Same thing with this group, we can scale inwards. Then we can essentially close these areas out. Same thing with this area, we can essentially close these areas out. Now I wonder with this group, should we perhaps relax it? No, that doesn't work, that messes it up. I think this group of vertices needs to be extruded inwards a little bit more. That's a little bit better. I think this entire group needs to be brought down a little bit more, or perhaps just these ones. Set the normals. This group needs to be brought up and brought back. This group needs to be brought forward, and carry these ones down, and carry those ones down also. We'll also carry this one forward and carry this one up. That's looking pretty damn good. Let me know what you think, how you feel. One step closer to completion when it comes to our car design. For our Audi RS, let's make sure that we've got all of our mirror modifiers in checked. So this one, need our mirror modifier as well. So does this one, and so does that one. As for everything else, I believe everything else is mirrored. Now on the other side of the car, this is where you have your gas tank. Now everything is still mirrored, so that is something that we're not going to do anytime soon. In fact, that's not even a necessity, but it's worth mentioning. Congratulations, the car is almost finished. It's definitely like 92% finished now. It's just the lights, the front headlight, rear headlights. Did I just say rear headlights? I meant brake lights, my goodness. And the ground unit, of course. Now for the ground unit, it all depends on how detailed you want to be. That really is up to you. But we're going to keep it just flat ground unit, almost like a RC car, because that's not the important part. But brilliant job if you've made it this far with your Audi RS6. Let's just get an image of this save, and then we're going to end this episode right here. These are some images of the Audi RS6 just underneath. Various different versions of the RS6 and underneath. So like I said, it's up to you just how detailed you want to be. But me personally, I prefer to keep it simple. One of the ways of doing this also is to make sure that these vertices are extruded inwards. I would say beyond the wheelbase. Yeah, I would say beyond the wheelbase. That's not absolutely necessary because obviously, as you can see, it doesn't look as good when that happens. So even that part it's almost like that part is up to you also. I feel like these vertices need to be brought forward. Just a feeling. That was just a feeling. But we're getting close to finishing our vehicle. It's looking good. So thank you for watching. Subscribe. Remember to leave a like. Hope you're enjoying the course, and I will see you in our next video.